Billy back here, Brochure for the Nerds. There's been a lot of controversy about Captain Marvel and everything, which is really just uncalled for and weird. But anyways, there's been some rankings going around of the MCU movies, all 21 of them. You know, from least favorite to favorite, and it's like Coke and Pepsi, right? It's just an opinion. Every movie has a good thing about it. Um, Now, compared to an average movie, all the MCU movies are good. Compared to just regular everyday movies that you would watch, I would say Marvel is above the competition. I'm going to attempt to rank Marvel movies, and I'm sure I'm going to make a few people mad, but hey, it's an opinion. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. There's a lot of ways you can rank these movies. So this is my personal take, and I'm going to be different than what you may have seen on some of the videos. But here's my list. My least favorite movie of all is Iron Man 3. I love Robert Downey Jr. I like the cast of this movie. I felt like Mandarin was just kind of a joke, and it just wasn't what I expected. Still a good movie overall, but my least favorite, and I felt like that it was kind of rushed, and, it was good for what it was, but for MCU standards, it was my least favorite. But I love the actors in this movie. So nothing to do for any of these movies. Nothing to do with the cast. It's more of either the storytelling or the execution or whatever. But Iron Man 3 is my least favorite. Number 20, The Incredible Hulk. The problem I have with this film, the action sequences were brilliant. To me, it felt almost too forced, and the focus was on Hulk and not as much Bruce Banner. You're supposed to focus on the person, not the thing he becomes. And I felt like there was so much emphasis on Hulk, we didn't get a time to really care about Bruce Banner. Good action sequences, there were some enjoyable moments, but overall it just felt kind of eh. Now, I'm 19, Ant-Man. I watched it with a buddy of mine, and we weren't at the theaters for this. Maybe I was just in a weird mood that day, but I sat down with them, and I was kind of bored. Not for lack of the cast. Paul Rudd's an amazing actor. But I didn't have that right mindset like I did for the second one. Going in was like, hey, this is more of a family movie. He's a dad, and, that kind of thing. So I need to give this one a rewatch, but for now, I'm putting it as 19th. Coming in at number 18, Iron Man 2. Whiplash was as a villain. I thought this was a good movie overall, but there were some things I didn't like. Whiplash as a villain was just kind of lame, in my opinion. Maybe it was just the way they executed it. But that movie was kind of eh. Thor: The Dark World. Now, I enjoyed this more than a lot of people did. I liked Malachi as a villain. I actually thought he was pretty good. Thor is great as a character. I think, though, they made him too serious, which he has a right to be. But I liked the humor and everything in this film. The cast is brilliant. I feel like Thor got better as we went along. So don't take this as a criticism to Thor. Thor's great. I just thought that The Dark World is good for a story, but there were times where it just kind of dragged along. And nothing wrong with that. They were still kind of a little bit earlier into the MCU. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It felt like a rehash of the first one. This is my favorite, how do I say it? Group, I should say. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. The second one was really good. I love the stuff they did with Yondu. Yondu had a lot of character development. The story went further. I just felt like it wasn't as good as the first one, but it's always hard to top a first movie when the first movie was kind of what they consider one of Marvel's biggest risk. So I'm going to give it 16th overall, but it was still a good movie. Captain America: The First Avengers. I remember seeing this in theaters, and oh my gosh, the hype for this was big. I love the character. He's grown on me every movie. I really thought they did a good job of Captain America. He's everything we should be in the United States of America. He represents pride and being a hero, that kind of thing. And this was great. He was a small guy that was picked on, and he was chosen just because of his mentality and everything. And he never took... he didn't pick on people himself after he became bigger. So I really enjoyed this movie. This was a very feel-good movie. It was sad with the ending with his girlfriend and everything, but it was a good movie. Next up is the first Thor. Love the introduction of Thor in the MCU. The battles were great. His abilities were awesome. Great actor choice for this. I don't know if they could have picked a better Thor. This was a very good movie, but Thor was just starting, so the MCU has grown with its over the years. So I give Thor as 14th. 13, Captain America: Winter Soldier. It was great how they did Bucky and everything, and how Steve Rogers, Captain America, tries to save his friend, and he tries to snap him out of it. That was great storytelling. Brilliant. This movie had me on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. I really enjoyed it. Next up, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Fantastic movie. Ultron's creation, which was originally Ant-Man, I believe, but Ant-Man wasn't introduced yet, so they had Iron Man create him. It was an accident. The fight happens. This leads to Civil War. The build was great. Good movie overall. And I'm going to tell you guys, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger, and Guardians of the Galaxy, I made a little note saying I put Guardians 2 as 14th, Captain America 15th, Thor 16th, but that was my second take. But here's the thing. The middle was the hardest for me. The top and the bottom was easy. The middle was tough. So yeah, that was hard. The middle's interchangeable, in my opinion, with a few of these movies, depending on the day. Number 11, Iron Man. Oh my gosh, I rewatched this recently, and I love this movie. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man at this point, but he played this character to perfection. This movie is outstanding, and he's taken into custody, and he gets out by creating a suit, and later he creates another Iron Man suit, and his partner turns on him, and they fight, and of course he wins. But this was just a brilliant movie, and it was the first, so it's always going to have a special place for fans. Top 10, here we go. Number 10, Captain America: Civil War. Love Civil War. Great movie. I'm an Iron Man fan. I'm a Captain America fan, but I like Iron Man more, so I was Team Iron Man. But I really enjoyed this movie. There was some brutality. War Machine gets injured, which really kind of stops the fight, because it's like, oh crap. Great movie though, and I really thought this was a great way to introduce Spider-Man, which he's amazing. Pun intended there, I guess. But no, great movie. Number 9, Doctor Strange. This movie, I went in with a different mindset, and I was not disappointed. The magic, the different abilities that he has. He's an arrogant doctor. Stephen Strange, gets in a bad accident. He can't use his hands like he was. And he goes and learns how to use magic and everything. He becomes one of the best, and his mentor, dies. But my goodness, what a movie. They jump right in, and this was brilliant. Number 8, Ant-Man and the Wasp. This movie was just fantastic. Like I said, I had a different mindset that this was a family film. They went in, he was under house arrest, explained his story. The quantum world was very interesting, and that's going to play a big part in Avengers Endgame, which I'm really looking forward to. But Ant-Man and the Wasp was an amazing movie. Wasp and Ant-Man together was great. I always love the group dynamics. Same thing with Deadpool. I prefer the second one just because I love it when they have more characters in it. So I felt like Ant-Man and the Wasp, the timing was good. Wasn't too slow, wasn't too fast, just right. It was Goldilocks. Paul Rudd uses his charm here with his daughter in the movie, and I love the after credit scene where they're sitting there and they shrunk the cars and they're watching. You think they're at the theater, and he really just shrunk the car, and they're just sitting there watching the movies and everything. So this was a brilliant movie. Well done, Marvel, as always. That was great. Number 7, controversial, but Captain Marvel. This was a great way to introduce a lead female. Brie Larson does an amazing job playing this character, and you feel for her because of all the things she went through. And she starts getting her memory back. There was some plot twist. It filled a lot of the gaps from, okay, how did this happen to Nick Fury? How did Captain Marvel come to be? It fills in a lot of that, and I love the nostalgia, and the cameo from Stan Lee was just brilliant. But yeah, this was an amazing movie. Can't praise this movie enough. Brie Larson, you are awesome. Continue doing the good work. Congratulations on the great movie. Number 6, Black Panther. I love this because they went to a place that is generally kind of just an afterthought. And they have their, important materials, and they have weapons, and this is just a great film. I love the technology aspect of it, because you wouldn't expect Africa to be the leader's technology, but they had like a secret kind of leadership of technology. So this was a well done movie. Bravo to the cast here. Can't wait till the next one. Number 5, top 5, always tough. This is where I had a hard time with, okay, what do I put? 5th versus 4th, and so on. Number 5, Thor Ragnarok. Thor, they quit taking him so seriously. It's funny. The timing is perfect. There are ongoing jokes. Great, great movie. I love whenever, at the beginning, whenever he's tied up and he's just kind of joking around with the demons. But, yeah, this was amazing. They finally found a way to make Thor work. The fight with the Hulk was great. Thor got Loki'd, which is what I use for when someone gets thrown around like a rag doll, and Loki's cheering, and that was just a brilliant moment. Valkyrie's amazing addition. Korg. This was just brilliant. Hela was an amazing villain here. Overall, they couldn't have done anything better. Odin dying was sad, but it was his time. Loki finally becomes a good guy. I really thought this was one of the better MCU movies. Number 4, Avengers Infinity War. The reason I put this 4th is because at the end of the film, it left me going, oh shit, they just did that. So I love the sense of doom from the beginning, and it's like there's no way they can win, there's no way they can win. They start fighting back in Africa with Black Panther's group there, and they do a great job of defeating his sidekicks and stuff, his helpers. Then Thanos shows up, and the fight begins, and it's epic, but they get their butts kicked. Thanos succeeds with the snap after almost being killed with the hammer throw. Thanos says, you should have gone for the head, snaps his fingers. Half of the MCU wiped out, or the world, I should say, population, the universe. Very emotional deaths. Gamora and Spider-Man were probably the two that hit me the hardest, because Gamora is one of my favorite characters, and so is Spider-Man. This was a great job by the Russo brothers to make you crap yourself. So good job, Russo brothers. Can't wait for Endgame. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. This was one of their biggest risks, they said, for the MCU. I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of the Guardians before. I did some research before the movie as far as who they were. The characters seemed interesting, but I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And they blew it out. They knocked it out of the park, let me tell you that. The soundtrack, the jokes, but to me, what really, really made this movie great was the chemistry all of the actors have here. You can't force chemistry. You can try to make it look like it's there, but you can't force it. It happens naturally, and they did with this. Star-Lord, Gamora, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Drax, all did a great job with this. I love it. Band of Misfits, and I think we can relate. I think they're relatable, because if you think about it, they don't have a lot of superpowers. It's more of, Groot has his ability to grow, but it's more about teamwork and, everything. Number 2, the Avengers. The reason I put this one so high, I remember going into this, and it was the first ensemble Avengers movie, and I had goosebumps from the trailer. I went to this 3 times in theaters. I've never done that with MCU film. I'm going to be seeing, I'm going to be going to see Captain Marvel again tomorrow, actually, with a friend of mine that hasn't seen it yet. So that's why I didn't really go into detail on what the ranking of Captain Marvel, because I still want to surprise my buddy. The Avengers, though, seeing Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Nick Fury, it all came together. The story was great. Loki was a good villain. You felt like the threat was real. The Tesseract being used was just brilliant. This was amazing. I was genuinely impressed and very happy. Number 1, drumroll, Spider-Man Homecoming. I grew up on Spider-Man, so that's why I put it so high as number 1. I felt like the chemistry between Zendaya, Tom Holland, all the cast was great. A great villain. There was that plot twist to where the girl he likes, Liz, that's her dad's the villain. Big plot twist that I was like, oh my god. But Homecoming is also the most rewatchable in my opinion. I could throw it on now and still be entertained. From the soundtrack, to the pacing. There's always stuff going on here. Tom Holland is brilliant, and I want to see many, many more movies with him in it. Great job by Tom Holland. I love this film. I praise it nonstop to my friends to the point of annoyance, but it really is that good to me, and I feel like they finally found someone that plays Spider-Man and Peter Parker perfectly, and the very ending with Aunt May going, "What the?" and then it cuts off. That was great timing on their part, and they skipped the Uncle Ben origins because we've already seen that done too much, so they jumped right in. I actually liked that. But yeah, that was my favorite MCU movie. And who knows, Endgame will probably fall in my top 5, depending on how it goes. But actually, it might end up being number 1. But Homecoming is just that much better than the others. So that's all I have for today. Take care.